This is Propulsion, the financial professional's catalyst to exponential growth. Are you a driven and ambitious financial professional, but you are finding it hard to break through to the next level? Or are you struggling to build and run your practice successfully? Join Francois du Toit, a leading consultant and trainer, as he interviews not only the experts, but also people you have never heard of before, but who have done amazing things, about how they run their practices, the challenges they face, how they overcome those challenges, their failures, which tech has improved their business, how their revenue models work, and other practical aspects. We go deep so you can learn as much as possible. And here's your host, Francois du Toit.
I'm very excited for today's conversation here on Propulsion. I have the privilege to talk to someone that I've personally worked with in my career, someone that I've learned valuable lessons from, and I'll give you some insights into what those were, and someone that I've always said it doesn't matter where he goes, he will be successful there. I've always said that. So after matriculating in Paris, he studied to become a teacher, which he did for a while, but there was something inside him that screamed, I can and want to have a bigger impact. I'm destined for greatness, and I can achieve whatever I set my mind to. So he left teaching, he became a broker consultant for 4 years, after which he moved into management in the independent advisor space. After a couple of years there, he then moved into the agency space, getting some valuable exposure and insights into working directly with clients and running and managing a team of advisors. He learned everything he could, and then the day came in September 2013, the day André Steenkamp started All Gen Financial Services Group. André, what a pleasure to have you here, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Francois.
So I want to start off with, so why did you get into financial services? I mean, teaching is such a noble profession, such a rewarding profession. But so what made you get into financial services?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a rewarding profession, but not on the payment side. So that's the reason why. And I actually discussed it with somebody this morning, Francois, that I was working, let's say, from 7 to 5, getting R5 a month. The teacher next to me, the lady, also worked for R5, but 1 o'clock in the afternoon, she was always running over some children to get out of the school field. And that's why I decided, I think if I put in more time, I can earn more money. Yes, teaching was brilliant. It was fantastic. I've learned a lot of experience, I've gained a lot of experience through my teaching career, and especially with the coaching. And I think coming back to the coaching is that I've coached a lot of athletes professionally in those days, and I think coaching assisted me in my profession or my career or my position that where I'm now, to coach people and take people from one level to another level. So it was definitely a good experience, but unfortunately they're not paying the teachers properly. Teachers, nurses and policemen don't get money. So the people that they actually should pay much more. And that's why I decided to move out of that and start in this industry. And we're also assisting people in this industry. So there's not much of a difference. We make a difference in people's life. Now we just make a difference in adults' lives, not children.
Yeah. So did you know someone that lured you into this industry? I mean, just why financial services? There was, like, you could have become an estate agent or, anything else you wanted to, but why financial services?
Yeah, unfortunately, I had friends in this industry. So they introduced me, because that's actually a very good question, because if we look at graduates that are going to university, you will never hear any graduate or any person finishing matric and they will tell you, listen, I'm going to study and I'm going to become a financial advisor. Nobody. It's the role that's our role, myself, you, that's going to introduce people to this unique and very good profession. So yes, I had a friend, Jaco Klopper. He's actually still with Liberty. He introduced me, and he introduced me to my ex-manager in those days. And they said, come for an interview. And I went for an interview. And actually, there's so many. If you look back, the old Sanlam guys, the old Mutual guys, and Liberty as well, there's a lot of the ex-teachers that left the teaching, because we had a way to work with people. We've got that trait. And that's when I moved over. So Jaco Klopper can take the honor of introducing me to this industry, and I moved over to financial services.
That's awesome. Now, I want to jump the gun a little bit in terms of, I mean, I've known you for quite a long time. And I saw sort of when you started the business. I mean, I'm walking into your offices today, seeing what has transpired since 2013. I remember I even went to the wrong office this morning.
It's an office block.
It's now an office block. I mean, I've seen, because I work with many different, whether it's franchises or independent brokerages or corporates. You see many of these businesses, they start off with everybody's very excited, and then just 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, they either close down or they merge with another franchise or another brokerage or things like that. So what makes Allgen different? Why, you've grown substantially in the last 6 years, if my research doesn't fail me. What is it that makes Allgen different in that sense, that even through these times where people are finding it difficult, you manage to grow the business to the extent that you have?
Yeah, what's the interesting thing, that all the financial advisors that's currently in my organization, 45 or whatever, I don't know how many, they only know the different time, after difficult times. That's the interesting one. Because the last 5 years, even Kobus Klein is a very well-known person in this industry. He actually said the other day, and he's been in this industry, I think, for 18 years. And he said, you know what, the last 5 years were the toughest years in my career. And the last one, 2018, was even the toughest of the 5 tough years. So yes, it was tough to bring these guys in, but the fortunate thing for them is, Francois, they don't know about easy times and easy days. So going forward, they definitely, if the tide is going to change, if all those things, then they definitely going to prosper from working in a difficult times. What kept me going? I think right in the beginning, I said to myself, the first year that we've opened the doors, we already won Liberty Challenge. And I said to myself, Andre, are you, and then there was a few comments made. I had a very low target that year because we were a startup. And even when we won the Startup of the Year award as well, again, low targets, it's easy. It's easy to make those targets. So I said to myself in those days, I said, Andre, if you want to really make a name and leave a legacy, you need to continue with these performances. And I said, we're not a once-off champion. We're gonna show the guys that we're gonna do it again and again. That's the first thing. So the next year we won challenge again, and we were the first business that ever won it 2 years in a row. But I think one of the reasons why I'm successful, and it's not because of André Steenkamp, it's because of the people that I appointed. The first 20 people that I've appointed those years were really 20 good young people. And as you know, that I only bring in new people in this industry. And the 20 that I brought into this business was 20 youngsters. But you can have a look at their credentials. Majority of them had a postgrad or post-matric qualification, a tertiary education, and about 70% of them played provincial sport at that stage. So that was the 20 monsters that I had appointed those years. And if you go back now, so we created a very competitive winning culture in this organization with those first people that we've got. So immediately and automatically, when you join us, let's say 3 years later, you come into a very competitive team, a very winning driven team. So automatically you're going to adapt as well in this organization. So there's two things. It's the people that are appointed, and that's why we are where we are. And I think the second one, as we said, we're not going to be a once-off wonder. We're going to show the people that we will continue with those successes and everything. And I think that's the reason why we are where we are now today.
So there's two things you mentioned, and I also subscribe to this. I mean, the role of sport. So whether it was at a provincial level, national level, or it's just that you actually participated in sport, what impact do you think that has got on a person's mindset?
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you about Henning Gericke. You know Henning Gericke?
No.
Okay, Henning Gericke is the psychologist of the Springbok team. And they won the previous World Cup through him. So Henning Gericke, one day, he's got a doctor's degree in psychology. Henning Gericke was the fastest 1,500 athlete in the world. He comes from a Hoërskool Menlo Park in Pretoria. So Henning, he finished matric, and through the prayers of his mum, because he haven't had the ability to be a brilliant student, and then he received all these bursaries to go and study, and he finished these, and in the first year and the second year he was still running. He was one of the best athletes in the world, and in his third year he realized that he must start working harder now on his academic than on his sport. And he finished his doctor's degree. And one day we were standing, and that's in my days when I was still a professional coach. And he came and stood next to me, and I said to him, Henning, doctor's degree. He said, Andre, it's not because of that I've got the ability and the IQ or anything like that. It's because I've learned through my sport that I need to work hard. If you look at all these sport people with me, sometime in his life he had to work really, really hard to become a provincial sport player. And I agree with you. You don't need to be a provincial sport person. You can just be in the inter-high athletics team as well. But it took a lot of effort to get to that point. So you know what it takes to be successful. You need to work hard. You need to put in the extra hours, not only the hours that you get from the coach, but you probably need to do additional training and everything on your own. So that's why I believe that sport people, they know how to work hard. They know that they need to work the long hours, not only 5 hours a day or 1 hour or half an hour, and they're persistent. And they've got perseverance. So that's the two things that I believe that make them successful in this, in any work. Doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be a financial advisor. Wherever they're going to go, they're going to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think through that is they also learn how to deal with disappointments, because you could have done all the preparation and then you pull a hammy like on the last bend, and they learn to deal with those kind of things. So when things don't go your way, you're able to actually...
I think that's where the resilience comes in.
Yeah,
so they know how to bounce back after a disappointment or anything. They know, and it comes in this industry every day. People neglect you. People don't pitch for their appointments. Clients decline their appointment. Clients cancel your policies.
Yeah,
and
without talking to you.
Without talking to you. So you need that resilience in this industry, and they've definitely got that resilience and everything. And they definitely know how to work hard and put in the extra hours.
Awesome. Good. I'm so glad you brought up that point. We are going to talk a little bit more about your people and everything a little bit later as well, but that was such a great introduction into that. So on your website, when you get to the landing page, if you go to allgen.co.za, it says big there, complete financial services solution. Why complete financial services solution? This one-stop shop, because that's the idea I get from just looking at it.
I'm going to read my mission statement to you, and I've brought it with me. Everything we do at the Allgen Group, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking positively and differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by delivering a full financial solution to all our clients. That's our mission statement, and that's what we believe in. So at the end of the day, Francois, the days when we were still together at Liberty as you my BC and I was your manager, how many of those financial advisors were only focusing on one single need?
99% of them.
Correct. So now if you look at, let's say, Roodepoort, now you've got the client here, he's got the short-term insurance with PT around the corner. He's got these investment with X. He's got these Willis at the bank. That's probably going to get lost somewhere.
It's already lost.
So that's why I decided through my journey in this industry, I said, okay, what is going to make a financial advisor successful, and what do they need? And that's where I got to this full value proposition of mine, is to say a financial advisor to be successful in this industry needs a full value proposition that he can provide to his clients. He needs to be able to do a will. He needs to be able to help that client with his short term. He needs to be able to help him with investments, accounting solutions, everything, because it's holistic financial planning. And I believe everything starts with your will. If you haven't got a will, then you're not doing your job as a financial advisor. Or if your client haven't got a will, then you're not doing your job, because that's the basic. And I still remember the individual, and I'm not going to mention his name, and he trained us 20 years ago on wills, and he said, you know what, there's 20 opportunities out of a will that you can write business out. So why don't you do a will? You start with the basics and you do a will. And I think by doing a will, you also show that you really care. Because if you really care, then the clients will do business with you. But if you're just like in Afrikaans we say, a polismous, and you're going to move on from one client to another client. So that's where I decided I'm going to be different, and I'm going to offer this full value proposition. Yes, it's not always easy. It's a big challenge because you've got 5 different companies, and they all need to deliver the same services to those clients. Because let's face it, if the short term mess up a client, it's a ongoing commission that they're going to lose. It's not big, but there's risk policies in place. There's all those other things. So if you're going to mess up a client in this organization, there's a huge default that's going to be somewhere in the organization. So that's why we decided on doing the full value proposition. Yes, that advisor is not giving advice on everything. He's mainly the Allgen Evolve advisor is just a Liberty affiliated advisor, but he refer the business to the other business partners in the organization.
So that is something I specifically want to touch on. But before I do that, so let's talk quickly about the 5 businesses that you've got in the group. So you've got obviously the financial planning, which is Evolve. And then you've got the accounting and tax. So where you do accounting for small businesses, bigger businesses, individuals, tax and all of that, payroll, all of those services. So you've got that. Then you've got the short-term business as well. And then a very interesting name for your EB and healthcare is Nomvula. Now, if my research also doesn't fail me here, it's also got a personal connection for you. What I could see is that it means mother of rain, but what is the personal connection to the name?
Okay, so also Nomvula is the new kid on the block. It's only about, I think, 18 months old. So also Nomvula is actually my oldest daughter's African name.
Okay.
So she came with a big rain. When she was born in January 2000, then, okay, let's not go there. But when she was born, there was a big rain that January and everything. And our domestic decided she's going to call her Nomvula. And when we started the EB and healthcare businesses, we were looking for a name. And I don't know, it just happened that I decided, no, let's call her that business Nomvula. So, yes, I know I've got 2 daughters. So youngster also wants to know when is she going to be named in the company, because her name is actually Imvula. Also came with a big rain. So Nomvula came with a big rain, and then the second one. But my IT company's name is Imvula. So that's a company servicing us. It's not my company, but it's a company looking after my IT. So at least we've got her covered there as well.
Oh, awesome. No, yes, I love things like that where there is a personal reason, a personal connection, because, it's like, I don't know. I wouldn't say one care more about those type, but I mean, there's that drive. So when things are not going well, that you'll push through, because I mean, you don't want to lose that part of it. And then the 5th one is the trust solutions as well. So those are the 5 businesses that you've got in the Allgen group, and that's how you service your clients from that complete financial services one-stop shop point of view. Now, what's very interesting for me about this, Andre, is that. And you mentioned this earlier. It's amazing because you don't know what I was going to ask. So you were talking about what do most advisors do? And it's exactly what I wanted to say, is to say that these advisors, they tend to either do one of 2 or 3 things. They decide to focus on everything themselves. So they sell EB, they sell mostly not healthcare, but some of them do. They do risk, they do investments. Usually they will outsource the short term, because I mean, that is like a different speciality. But the rest of the stuff, they try and do everything themselves. So they do like 1 EB case a year, if they're lucky. That's sort of their approach. Or what you do is, or what they do is, you find that advisors tend to, I'm an investment advisor, and the rest of the stuff, I go and get strategic partnerships. So my friend is more focused on risk, so I'll refer that business to him. We know it's kind of safe. You've gone the other way to say, well, we still want to focus on all of those things and offer the services. But what I'm going to, and this was like, for me, it's brilliant, where you said, I'm going to, apart from starting the different businesses, because there's a cost that comes for that, but I've got advisors and people working in that business that only focuses on that business. So instead of being a generalist, you've got people that just focus on financial planning. You've got people that just focus on EB and healthcare. Somebody just doing the accounting and the tax and the payroll and stuff. People focusing just on short term. I mean, has that been the strategy from the start? And how is that working in practice? Because as you said, there's a big challenge that comes with running 5 businesses and having that. But that focus, what difference does that focus bring?
I think, Francois, it's about specialization. And I take my hat off for those guys doing everything in his business, doing all the one-stop shop. It's tough because you need to specialize, and you need to just imagine how many meetings those guys need to attend and training sessions and everything, because this company with this, you need to attend EB training, you need to attend this, you need to attend that. So I take my hat off for those guys doing it all by himself. But I think it's very specialized. You can't do everything yourself, not always. So yes, partnering with strategic partners, 100% good idea as well, because we've got a few brokerages that works like that in South Africa, where the one broker or the one financial advisor is just focusing on investments, the other one on risk or estate planning or whatever the case is. It's a good idea. With me, right from the beginning, I said we're going to specialize. We're going to get specialized people to provide that services. Healthcare is a very, very difficult environment, and it's labor intensive. Because we had a client last week, Monday, sitting to do the CT scan, and the next moment the medical aid didn't authorize it. Who's that client going to phone? Not the company where his medical aid is. He's going to phone my financial advisor. So we decided to go specialized. So each and every person in those different environments they specialize just in that. And that's. And the reason why we've done that, Francois, as well, we want to really deliver a good service to our clients, and a specialized service. It's not any other reasons why for that. It's just we want specialized people. So if you look at Allgene Trust Services, it's myself that is a FISA affiliated member, but I've got 2 lawyers, qualified lawyers in that business, because it's always, you have to have a lawyer to deliver proper fiduciary services, or a proper qualified person with advance in all those stuff. If you look at the accountant, guy studied BCom accounting at the University of the Northwest. That's his speciality. That's what he's doing on a daily basis. But they complement each other very well. So the guy that's specializing in financial planning, I've got, I think, 11 CFPs in my organization, except they're not passing their board exam currently. But they've got the postgrad, so I'm happy with that. But if you look at those CFPs, they can really deliver a proper estate plan. But now, Mr. Client, let's have a look at the tax benefit from investing in an RA. Let's look at all the other stuff. And that's where we bring in the specialist in. And the accountant was selling quite a few RAs in the past for us, or upselling RAs, where we said, okay, let's go in for a 5,000 Rand RA. No, but Mr. Client, look at the tax benefit because you're a business owner, we put it on your payroll, all that stuff. So that's the benefit of specializing and having all these specialists within the organization. And they're working nicely together. They refer business to each other. So all these businesses are branded Allgene, and they're all based here in this building, in the Joburg building. But yeah, it's just a huge benefit. And I can also say, going back to your first question or second question, why are we so successful? That's one of the reasons. Because that was a study that was done, and at the MDRT in America, I've got the study. What they said is that as soon as a client's got 2 and more products with you in your company, the chances that client will leave you is 85% less.
Sure. No, that's huge.
So he's got his medical aid. Last week we worked with a nice client. It's one of my senior financial advisors' clients, and the medical aid client, a lady contacted the client and said, Mr. Client, I'm going to have a look and see where can I do better for you and your medical aid. And the client told her immediately, Ioani, don't stress about a better premium. Just sign over my medical aid, because everything needs to be with ex-advisor and Allgene, because he's giving me good service and everything must be there. And that's why she wants to move her medical aid to us as well.
That was my question next on, do you think this or is this the reason why you've been so successful? But I think you've now answered that question, that it did play a very big role. It's surely not the only thing that contributed to the success and the growth over the last 5 years, but it definitely had a big... Definitely,
because when one of my financial advisors go and sit in front of a client, he's got a little pamphlet, the A5 pamphlet, and that pamphlet says directly to the client, Mr. Client, this is the services that I'm going to deliver, or what I can deliver. So I'm not here just to do this component. I'm here to provide you with all the other services as well.
Very nice. Okay. Talking about clients, So does Allgen have a ideal client profile? Do you have a very clear definition around like who are the ideal clients you want to work with? Or is it like, if you need help, we can help?
Correct. Exactly that. If you've got a financial need and a financial problem, we're solution driven. We don't sell products. We don't talk products in our meetings. Product is just the final thing that we're going to put in place to solve our solutions. So, you know what, even if you're you're a graduate, you just started in an accounting firm and you're paying 7,000 Rand a month, you've got a need. There's a specific need. You need to start saving for your retirement. You've got you don't need a risk cover, but you need an income protector because there's an income need when something happens to you. So that's our client. As soon as you've got a need, if you look at the short term, 90% of the clients or people in South Africa got short term cover. That's our clients.
Yeah.
That's where we start.
Okay.
And you need a will.
Yeah.
Let's face it. Each and every somewhere that's the only definite thing that's going to happen to us. We're going to pass away someday, and we need a will for that.
Yeah. And I saw stats. I can't remember them exactly now, but I think the stats said something like only 29% of people have got a will, and of those, I don't know, like a massive percentage did it once and never even reviewed that will. Correct. So there's a massive need. I mean, that's why companies like Capital Legacy, I think, is really growing the way they're doing, because they are trying to address that need.
I know at FISA conference, that was now 3 years ago, it was 22%. 22% of clients said, and that's a big problem at the master's offer. People arrive there and they haven't got the will. So now you die interstate, and there's a lot of consequences there.
Yeah. Good stuff. Then, how many clients have you got across the business at the moment? So if you look at the entire group, do you roughly know how many clients you're servicing, you're looking after?
Yeah, the last time we had a look, we've got about 4,800 clients on the book. That's now over a 5-year period.
Okay.
That's because we've got an X drive. That's where we save all our client files and everything. And we've just updated that 100%, and there's about 4,800 clients on that.
Okay.
That
active clients.
Active clients, yeah. It's got something with us, and yeah. And the nice thing is, we checked our stats the other day. We're on 2.2 products.
Nice.
Per client.
Which now goes to the 85% less chance of losing a client.
So yeah, they've got 2.2. That's not included the will and the short term, everything. That's just on the Liberty side. That's the product. So at least he's got a will, he's got a RA, maybe an investment product and a risk product. So that's the nice thing. And it's 2.2. We're on there.
Yeah, because I remember back in the day, that was one of our biggest challenges. If you looked at an advisor's profile, and you look at the clients with that advisor, that you would find that the bulk of them have only got one product.
You know what's a nice thing, and is it the FISA rule now, or FICA, that you need to review clients at least now? It's coming in big time. We're driving it massively big, and that's where we go and upsell. Go and visit those clients, upsell really, because last year we managed to review 55% of our clients.
Okay.
On an annual basis, and this year we tried, our target is now 60%, so we're trying to review at least 60% of our clients every year, but that's where you're going to upsell and cross-sell.
So what's the challenge to get to, because obviously the law wants us to do 100% of them. What are the challenges that's causing us not to get to that 100%? Is it just clients saying, listen, I'm not interested?
I think it's more clients who say nothing changed in my environment. But the nice thing is we've got a mail campaign that we run also with those clients. We send them a mail to say, Mr. Client, just confirm nothing changed. We did make contact with you, and we save that as well as a contact. But yeah, most clients say, okay, nothing happened, nothing changed in my environment. I'm still happy with what I've got. And affordability. I think affordability, because client, every time we do this, client think that we're going to come and make a new sale. And that's not the scenario. So it's more about, no, Mr. Client, we're just going to review you. We're not going to really sell you nothing additional stuff. Let's just look at it. And there's a long-term goal as well with each and every client. If you've done proper holistic financial planning, the client knows that he needs to get to 5 million life cover to cover his family. He's currently only got 2 million. So, Mr. Client, let's just add another 250 rand or whatever the case is to your cover.
Okay. So from that point of view, do you see a successful review as where there was also something implemented, or is it just having a meeting with the client? How do you count that? Whether a review, it was now 55% of your clients, does that mean that you actually got to meet with 55% of them? Or were there new things that were done with 55% of the clients?
I think for the advisor, implementing something new is a successful meeting. No, for me, even if I sit with you, Francois, and I say, okay, let's have a look at, we've implemented this last year or 2 years ago. You know what, Mr. Client, you're okay. I think that's a successful meeting. Just to give him that peace of mind. My financial plan is in place, and I can go and sleep tonight, and I can sleep well because there's no stress or no problem. That's a successful meeting.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's not always to say that you need to implement. Yes, maybe a will. You haven't done a will 2 years ago because the client thought that his will is with ABSA.
Yeah.
And then in the meantime, he realized that they don't know where the will is.
The last will was the army one.
Yeah, the army one. So, I think that's also, but it's not necessary to be that there's commission-generated activities happening.
I want to move on to the financial planning side of the business. So that specifically Evolve. So I want to talk more about what you do in there and how things are working. I'm very interested to learn what experience you're offering clients. There's an expectation of having like client service. All of us, we get upset when we don't get service. But for me, there's a massive difference between receiving client service, good service, and having an experience with a business or with a company or with a financial planner for that matter. So what is the Allgen experience when you come and do my financial planning?
So first thing, you're going to have a good experience with a financial advisor, professional financial advisor. Hopefully you're going to end up with one of the 11 CFPs. So he will treat you with dignity. He will treat you with respect and everything. And then immediately after that, so let's say we concluded some business, he will meet up with his personal assistant. So that's the other experience. You will make contact with her. She will make contact with you. After we issue that business, you will get a welcome letter from myself to say, welcome, Mr. Client. Welcome to the Allgen Group. Welcome to the Allgen family. So, and on that email, you will find a few telephone numbers, a few contact numbers that you can at any time contact. So that's the experience. And then on a monthly basis, you will get a newsletter from me, not product-based. My newspaper is more living experience email that I'm going to send to you. I'm going to tell you in January what food you need to eat, maybe to get the December behind you. That's the stuff that we really try to keep it a family-based business. And that's the biggest challenge for me, is to keep it, even though that we're growing, we need to keep that family inside, that family aspect in the business. So that's the experience that you're going to have. And then, yes, you will get a monthly newsletter from me. And as I said, it's got nothing to do with not always, but there's out of the 4 that you will receive, or the blocks that you will receive as well on my email, is 4 is lifestyle. 3 out of the 4 is lifestyle articles, and 1 will be industry related. So that's the experience that we're having with you. And then you will see my advisor on a regular basis, because that's why we feel very strong about it. It's not going to be a once-off. I'm going to write this big RA and I'm going to disappear, because that's the challenge. Why is clients so negative about RAs? It's not the RA, the product. There's nothing wrong with the product. As 5 years ago or 10 years ago, when you and me started in this industry, there were specific portfolios, and we got incentivized to sell some portfolios, and the financial advisor put that client in with that portfolio, and that portfolio didn't grow over the period of time, because we never reviewed those portfolios. And that's why I say, if we can review the client on a regular basis, he will have a much more positive experience with this industry.
Yeah, I fully agree. So one of the sort of analogies that I always use is like when you buy a property, it can be in the best location, it can be this fantastic brand new house, but if you're not going to maintain it, by the time you get to 65, that house is worth nothing.
Correct.
But you've got to fix the pipe that's bursting. You've got to repaint every now and then. You don't always have to rip out everything and rebuild everything, but that's the premise of why we need to review. So you can't just do something now and then forget about it.
Yeah. And then the other point that I want to add there is, remember, you're not only going to have a contact with your your estate planner. You're also going to have contact with your medical aid lady quite often, especially in the end of the year when they review the rates. You're going to have a contact with my short-term broker. They still call them brokers, because LCB, you need to review your portfolio. Mr. Client, yes, you've bought a new wedding ring maybe for your wife because you spoiled her on the 10th wedding anniversary. So she's going to review you as well. So there's many other channels. It's also from within the group that's going to make contact with you over the year.
And that's awesome because, it's about staying top of mind and having a structure like this. I mean, think about if you had one person who need to contact you about your short term, one person, the same person contacts you about your medical. They just don't have time, so it doesn't happen. Here you've got people focused on that, and that contact, because that's something I've learned over the years, is that that's what keeps you top of mind. Whether it's sending those newsletters or doing a blog, making sure clients get it and following up on things that needs to be reviewed. There's so much value in that. Even people sending out consolidated investment statements on a regular basis. It's not so much about the actual investment statement. Yeah, it's great. I don't know how many of those people actually read it. But what I've seen happen is how many people reply to those emails and say, you know what, I was thinking about you, like I had to go look for your number, or I want to do this. I'm so glad I got this. Please, do you want to do da-da-da-da?
Yeah. Around the braai on Saturday evening, I realized that after the rugby, maybe I must relook at my will. And that's that contact. And it doesn't even need to be a face-to-face. Just send me a WhatsApp with my investment value. Yeah. You invested 100,000 with me 6 months ago. Your current value is 101%, 101,000.
All right. So, do clients, because you've now got these different advisors, a lot of times clients, like myself, if I've got an issue, I always tend to phone that one person at that company, because you always want to deal with one person and that entry. How do you deal with that? And is clients open to dealing with these different people for different things? Did it take some time to educate them to be comfortable with that? How successful is that process working?
I think that the first one that they're still going to phone is the old Genival financial advisor. Most of the time, they contact that person because that's their first contact. That was the first person that introduced them to this company. But they're more than willing to speak to the other people as well. Coming back to previous question as well. Let's face it, now you've got your investments with a specific advisor. You've got your medical aid with another one. You're all over the show. And you having a good experience with my financial advisor on the investment side. What is the chances that you're not going to move the other stuff to me as well? Now, because that's the threat. You're referring your medical aid to that person. You're referring your short-term to that person. And now, next moment, you've got a claim on your car. But that financial advisor doing short-term actually also got a life license and everything as well. So the chances that you're going to have a nice experience with his admin assistant or his office. The next moment, you're going to tell him, oh, you know what, just look after the other stuff for me as well. So to come back to the current question, yes, that it is a bit of an education thing because people are used to be scattered all around town with their services, but they're more than comfortable because they know, I think why they're comfortable because they know they're talking to a specialist now. They're talking to the medical aid specialist or an EB specialist or a fiduciary specialist. So they're more than comfortable to talk to that person because they know that person is going to take them to the next level with their knowledge and everything. Not to say that the retail financial advisor doesn't need to have that same knowledge. They have to have that knowledge, but they haven't got the expertise in those different areas. They've probably got the knowledge. They know that they can save tax with the RA, but that's where the specialist can come in.
Practical aspect of things. Yeah. Okay. Where do you find your new clients? Because we did a survey about 3 years ago with independents. It's just a specific group of independents with a broker branch, if you will. In the old days, we called them broker branches. It was about 200 people. We surveyed them and we asked, what is your number one challenge? And we left it as an open field, so open text. You could put in whatever you want. There was no list to choose from. And 95% of the people came back and said leads. New clients. Now, I think there's two things there. Is that the one is that we're so focused on new clients and that we think we know that the old existing clients are not going to buy anymore. That we know they sorted, their needs are covered. And I always say, I think that is because we don't give them new information. That's why they won't maybe upsell or cross-sell or whatever they want to do. Unless we present them with new information, they're okay. But on the other hand, then you've got this thing about like, it's all about new clients. But in your business, obviously, when it was a startup, it was a company that was growing. You're now just past 5 years. I think September it was 5 years. So we're like 5.5 years in now, going for 6, almost going to grade 1. Mm-hmm. And, so things start to change if you're looking after 4,500 clients. Now, where are you finding new clients? What is your focus currently? Do you still heavily focus on new clients?
Yes, we still focus on new clients, Francois, because we're bringing in new financial advisors the whole time. So unfortunately for them, we have, not fortunate for unfortunate, we need to bring in new clients for them because it's most of the time as young people, the group of influence people around them just finished studies with them and everything. So they haven't really got the money to spend. So we need to put them in front of clients. So yeah, the sway with us, we've got a call center. I've got a call center with 12 ladies in. So we unfortunately those people that phone you for a cold call and for an appointment. So that's just working for us currently. But it's getting more difficult with POPI and all that stuff. So if we buy data and leads and everything, we need to make sure it's POPI compliant. So the guys that's selling those data also got onto the bandwagon because they know they've got a commodity so that's more expensive these days. So we've got a call center making appointments for the young newbies that comes into this industry because surely he haven't got the network out there. He's got his family, and we don't always want them to write all the family members. That's
you
not
want to do
also
business with family and friends.
Yeah, that's where we get new clients in. For the experienced guys, that's on referrals. Hopefully they're delivering such a good service. I always tell the guys, because sometimes some of them will complain and say, but I don't get referrals. But did you make a difference in a person's life? If you made a difference in my life, I will refer people to you. Yeah. I just signed up for a golf membership, and I had such a good experience with that guy. I sent 3 of my friends' names to him and said, Nikki, find these guys. Yeah. Because I know that was a nice experience for me. So the experienced guys will go on to referrals. They try to network also with other accountants, with other lawyers. I know some of my guys got nice agreements with professional people. Yeah. So that's where they get their leads in. But yeah, in the beginning, when you start out with us, we will try and assist you with getting in front of clients.
Okay. Maybe it's not a difficult question, but I don't know whether you'll have the stats, but how many of the leads that you generate comes from within the group versus the call center making appointments with new clients? So for instance, somebody joining the accounting and tax, but he doesn't do anything, no other business. Yeah. So how many of those then become?
It's starting to happen after 5 years. I've also got a joint venture with the lawyers in Pretoria, the 5 Us Incorporated group. They actually based in my offices in Pretoria. We've got a massive big building. That's where my short term is. They based there, as well as this lawyers group. It's starting to happen, Francois, where the accounting client will come in and say, okay, but I need A, B, and C. Okay, let's just walk around the corner. There's the financial advisors sitting there. Let me introduce you to one of the persons sitting there. From the short term, because remember, our short term company is older than Allgen Evolve. So the nice thing is with the short term, there's also now that synergy happening, that collaboration happening. We're getting referrals from there. So yeah, from all over in the group, it's starting to happen where there's now collaborations and there's now leads coming through from the different areas to the financial advisors.
Do you think it took so long because of the trust you had to build and having to prove yourself or to prove the Allgen group to the client and get them like, no, I can trust them with this and this and this as well, and not
exactly
just
that. Yeah. And also the trust between the different financial advisors.
Yeah, sure.
And the accountant. Do I trust you to give my client to you to give him some advice? So that took a while, and the individuals within the organization and then the clients as well. Yes, I've had a good experience with you. You've sorted out my tax. You've sorted out all my audits and everything. Now I can, yes, let's go to full Monty now. Let's introduce me to some of the other partners in the business.
Yeah, okay. One thing I learned in my business over the last 4 years is the relationships that took long to get established those are the good ones. The ones on paper where it was like, wow, we've got so much synergy. There's so many things we can help. We fit nicely together. Let's do it. Didn't work. So you first need to build that trust. And that takes time. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can say or do. Yeah, sometimes you meet someone and you just like them straight away, but that doesn't really mean we trust one another, kind of thing. So I think from that point of view, the longer these kind of strategic partnerships or, when you bring people in, the longer it takes, the better it's long term. The problem is we don't always have the time to wait for 5 years to really start this thing to get to tick over. So we've got to have a short term strategy as well. But it's good to hear that from you, because that's been my experience, and it seems like it's your experience as well.
Yeah, if you look at the business person where you're going to do a buy and sell, yes, it's easy, that business person, but it takes a while to get all the partners on board and all the partners to buy into you as a financial advisor. But as soon as you've put all that stuff in place, and that's taking 6 months plus, then those partners will open up and say, okay, look at my personal stuff now. Okay, no, but I know you've got short term. Let's have a look at short term, because we haven't had a good run with our short term financial advisor. So yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, so now I want to move to, or maybe before I get there, it's just, there's one commodity that makes an advisor, maybe one advisor, more successful than another when we look at things like turnover, etc., is time in front of the client. Okay, so now obviously compliance it's a huge time stealer. I don't know if that's the right word. Yeah, so you and your team, how do you get over that, or how do you deal with that burden of the compliance so that you can try and maximize the time in front of the client instead of spending time at the office, sorting out the compliance?
I think some of the financial advisors within my group, they've got their own PAs as well. So the guys try and complete most of the stuff beforehand. So when the advisor go and sit in front of a client, there's a fully prepared file already there, and they can go and just do the work what they need to do. So that's the one side. But I always tell the guys, compliance is there to back you. Compliance got your back. If you do it properly, that is the way that you're going to protect yourself when you go to the ombudsman and everything. If you put everything in that compliance document, on that record of advice, on the introduction to the client, everything, if you do that properly, you will never have a problem. So don't see it as a threat. Don't see it as a time-wasting thing and don't see it as, but why does the FSCA now want this again? There's a reason for everything. So again, coming back to one of my values is the positivity. Don't let those things keep you behind, or because you can't change it, Francois.
No,
you can't change it. So forget about it. Make peace with it and move on. Why do I need to sign one document, 6 signatures on one document? You can't do anything about it. You can't change it. There's people in certain departments. Let's face it, there's a legal team and there's a compliance team, and then there's all these teams. They all need their job. They need to justify their job. So there's going to be stuff sometimes that we're going to question. But we can't change it. You and me can't change it. So let's make peace with it. Yeah, it's stuff that we have to do. Move on and do it.
Is the compliance process embedded in the financial planning process? So in other words, do you during the process sign documents as you get, so by the end, compliance is not a separate activity, or do you deal with compliance as an activity after you've closed the client?
During the process. So the introduction needs to be signed right in the beginning, first meeting. You need to introduce yourself, not only your value proposition, but who am I representing here, Mr. Client? So it's a continuous process. It's not, if you're going to do it after you've done all the work,
most probably,
then it's not the right thing that you're doing.
Yes, because everybody signs that statutory disclosure up front and maybe the SLA and that's it. And then at the end, they want to come and say, okay, but now there's all this other compliance that needs to go in, and then they leave it.
No, surely it's a working document that you're presenting. If you present that proper financial plan with your RAA and your introduction to the client, all those keynotes that you're putting down. Mr. Client, yes, you mentioned that you don't want to look at your risk, but I need to just tell you that the risk is very important. If you pass away tomorrow, I don't want your wife on my case. So you need to go through those documents. If you really use it in your advice process, then it don't need to be a burden.
Okay. No, I agree with that fully. So let's talk about your business model for a moment. So this is now the money and that kind of stuff. But I don't want to talk rands and cents. I'm more interested in how do you generate and earn revenue in the business? So in other words, what I'm talking about, I mean, there's obviously commissions, there's maybe fees, and the different businesses will work in different ways. But for the group, I mean, how are you earning income? How much is it percentage-wise? Maybe, is passive, which there's no such thing as passive income in my mind, because you'll always work for it to maintain it. But just sort of the different revenue streams that you've got coming into the business, and just percentage-wise, how much each of that contributes to the overall revenue.
Yeah, we can be honest to say that the Allgen Evolve business is the cash cow of the business. That's where probably 70% of the income flows comes from. Allgen Evolve, and then from there, so the other companies, Francois, when I established all those other companies, I didn't establish them to make money out of them. It was purely for a value add. So trust services, you can ask any, and even Standard Bank Trust and actuaries or whatever they call themselves came to see me one day and said, André, you're not going to make money with wills. I agree, we're not going to make money with wills. Our wills is cheap. It's 500 Rand a will. It's not cheap because we're giving a bad will to the clients. We've got professional wills that we draft because we've got the knowledge to draft them properly. Because there's a lot of clauses that you need to think about. Just full family obliteration. You can have a look at how many wills haven't got that clause in. And what happened then if you pass away, your full family is wiped out. Then it's interstate again. So it's simple stuff like that. So the initial thought or the initial goal with these companies wasn't to make money. Not at all. It's purely to strengthen my value proposition, first thing to my financial advisors. So my financial advisors, hopefully, they will stick with us because of the reason what is the offering to them. And then the second thing, it was definitely for our clients, to have that one-stop shop for our clients. So that was the reason. So yes, money-wise, Allgen Evolve is the cash cow of the business, and the other ones are contributing small percentages to the business. It's not, and that's maybe the message that I also want to convey is, if you're not going to make money with everything. Yeah, maybe I'm a stupid businessman, but it's not always about the money. It's about the value proposition that you can present to your clients. And my client is the financial advisor, and my financial advisor's client is the client out there, the end product user.
Yeah, and I want to add on to that. I so subscribe to that as well. You know, my wife can fight with me a lot when I don't charge people for certain things, and they say, "Oh, are you charging for that?" And I say, "No, I don't." But why not? I said, because you don't understand. So some of these things you do, but then it generates things elsewhere. And I don't do it to get, it just happens. It's just the way it works. So, that's a very, very good insight, to have, because I think a lot of people go into, let's expand the business, but you think you're going to make money from that business. But in fact, what you're doing there is generating more money in a totally different business.
Look at the trust services. Now we've got about 610 wills on the book now. Yes, now some of our clients starting to pass away. Now we're starting maybe to earn more money because we're also doing the administration of the deceased estate. And that's where you get your executors fees. Yes, that's where maybe there's going to be more money in the long term. But in the beginning, the first few years, same with Allgen Nomvula, first 2 years it's costing you money. It's costing me money. There's a nice loan account in that where they owe Allgen Evolve money. But on the long term, yes, you will probably make some money out of it. But in the short term, it's all about the value proposition.
And I want to add here that, I mean, the way that I've come to know you is that you've always had the long game in mind. You were never a guy that said, like, what can I get now? It's like, how do we make this sustainable? How do we make sure that we're here for the long run? And I think that's also one of the things. So many people come into something saying, I need to make money now. And sort of to see that through. And, so that's one of the things from you personally that always stood out for me. So maybe at this point, what I can do is to say, and this is maybe more tongue in cheek, but two of the things that I learned from you back in the day when we used to work together was, there's one thing that you used to say is that, the most important thing is to remain calm. I think we always say that tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
But it's such an important thing. It's really, a case where you sometimes just bite your tongue and just think, just remain calm. And then I know you said that, like, if you can't remain calm, the most important thing is to remain important, I guess. But that was the one thing. And then the other thing was always give the other person the chance to say no. And I want to come back with that to what we talked about clients with the reviews and stuff. You know, sometimes an advisor will look at his clients and say, I'm not going to talk to Peter again because I've already done everything I could, and he hasn't got more money. But the fact is, things change so quickly that we never know. So you still need to talk to that person and say, you know what, and give them that opportunity to say, no, thank you, I'm not interested. Never assume that they will or will not. That's such an important thing.
Assumption is a bad thing.
All right, so I want to move a little bit quicker. Do you charge fees at all for financial planning? Do you have guys that charge fees?
No.
You do? No.
Nothing. No fees currently.
Is it in the planning?
I've been to, and I think there's a misperception of fees. Totally misperception. Yeah. I've been to UK last year. I was privileged to visit a few companies there. A few companies like the Liberty companies and a few advisory companies, everything. And it's not really fees. What the only thing that they've done in the UK, they've changed commission, the word commission, to the word fee. And now all of a sudden, everybody is up in arms here, but you can negotiate your fees. Client can negotiate your commission for many years already. So you can give discount to commission. So that fee-based thing, no, we didn't buy into that. We're still working on the commission thing. Hopefully that will still stay for a while. Yes, I understand investments, you need to charge a fee. We're happy with that. But on the risk products, everything, we're still going to continue with the upfront commission up to the point where but I don't think they can change that.
It will go away completely. Okay.
So the fees is a difficult thing for South Africa. Yes, I know a doctor charge you a fee when you go and see him, a lawyer charge you a fee and everything, but our clients has got such a negative perception of our industry. Because they burn their figures and everything, what's the chance that some of the clients will really pay a fee? If we're just going to go out to see a client for a will and we're going to charge him a 2,000 Rand or 1,000 Rand fee, we're not going to put a will in place. What's the most important thing? Let's help the clients and put some solutions in place, and the rest will follow.
Yeah.
The rest will follow.
It's easy to see what goes on the outside of a business. So we know, like, this is what AllGen looks like. We go to your website, all the stuff that you can see there when you get somebody to come and see you. But I want to talk about, like, the operational tactics and strategies. So what are the things inside of AllGen that's the engine that's driving this big machine, how you actually get things done, because there's a lot of things that needs to happen inside of the business, the things that we usually don't talk about. I mean, just quickly, you said how many people you've got now working for AllGen?
I walked on the beach in December and I had to do this calculation, Francois. But there's 72 people in the group.
Yeah.
So there's 72 people working currently in AllGen, and it's still growing. I think, we will be, by the end of the first quarter, we will probably be on 85.
Okay, sure. That's amazing. I mean, that's making a difference, eh? I mean, because the people you've got working here, most of them, I guess, apart from, because you've got offices in Durban, you've got offices in Cape Town, you've got offices here in Pretoria and Northwest. Yeah. And I'm not sure. Are there things about the Free State that may happen?
We're busy with Bloem. You won't believe it. I know that's your favorite place to go to. Yeah, I was fortunate. I had an interview in Cape Town for a new sales leader down there, and I actually met the guy down there, but he moved back to Bloemfontein. So yeah, I mean, negotiations with him to start a Bloemfontein brand.
Invade the whole country, yeah. I say.
So yes, Francois, when I started this business, one of the first things that I said to myself, what is the goal, André Steenkamp? Why are you starting your own business? And my goal was to provide for 50 households. That was my first goal.
Yes, and we're going for 85.
Yeah. No, 100. No, that's the
next
goal.
No. Like, I know you.
220 goal.
There is no limit. So, but at least you've got these milestones, because that's also one thing you taught me. I think it was a stage when I came to you and I said, like, I want to do this much per month. And you said to me, Francois, you're now here. You want to be there. How the hell do you want to make the jump from here to there? So break it down. Say this. And that's the one thing. So there is no limit. But there's milestones.
We know a very good person by the name of Jacques van Schalkwyk. he always said that elephant is big. You can't eat it up all at once.
Get stukkie vir stukkie.
Yeah, chunk by chunk. So yeah, that was my first goal. To come back to the operation, that was my first goal, to provide for 50 households. That has always been, forget about the financial planning, forget about all the companies. And that's what always been my goal, is to bring in new people in this industry, even matriculants. We had the discussion before we started the interview. Bring some people out of matric that haven't got the opportunity to go and study, bring them in the business, and let's develop those people. What is keeping André going? I've got a professional career presentation that I do with you when you start with me. And the biggest thing that is keeping me awake in the evening is to make sure I deliver on those promises that I made. That's the stuff that keeps me going. And I've even got it in my presentation these days to say, what is keeping me awake in the evenings is to deliver on my promises. I need to provide for 50 people, and that's why compliance is so important, Francois. If we're not going to be compliant, I need to go to 50 people, or currently 72 people, and tell them they haven't got a job. I haven't got that. I won't be able to do it. I'm sometimes also a very emotional person, and that's going to be too emotional for me. I won't be able to do that.
That's amazing. And I think that's one of the things that already for me, like what makes Allgen different, is you're not just saying stuff. You're actually doing it, and you're living that. And people can see it. And that's always one of the things where, like, I remember back in the day, you can say whatever you want, but it's more the way that you're doing stuff that's pulling people along. And when you make a promise, that promise stands. From a recruitment perspective, what's your philosophy?
Recruitment, and for people starting up businesses like myself, is not easy anymore. In the beginning, I was recruiting everybody. I had a good experience one year. I think it was in 2014, yeah. I went down to the winelands down in Hermanus. And the company that took us down there actually said, okay, you're going to get into a little combi at 10 o'clock on a Monday. You're going to taste wine now. So the first thing was to myself, we had a Sunday evening dinner, and it ended up like a 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock dinner that evening. Next morning, 10 o'clock, you need to do wine taste again. So that was a bit of a shock on the system. But we went to 5 different wine farms, and 3 of them had employees that was presenting the wine tasting experience. And 2 of them, and one of them was the Herman Pietersfontein, was the owner that introduced the wine tasting. And Francois, you won't believe the difference in the experiences where the owner presented the wine tasting to us, because he's talking with much more passion.
Sure, it makes sense.
And then the 3 employees. So I believed right in the beginning, I will do all the interviews myself. Yeah, now with a big organization where we are now, I've got people screening the candidates, and then I will do the final interview, because I believe I've got more passion for my product than anybody else. The recruitment, I've got now for the first time after 5 years, I've appointed a recruiter. So previously, before that, we've done all the recruitment myself.
In-house or outsourced?
In-house now. Yeah. So we've got an in-house recruiter. She's sitting upstairs, so she's doing all my recruitment now. And it's recruitment for admin people, call center ladies, financial advisors, everything. If I look at the normal admin people and everything, I like to bring in new young matriculants. I like to bring those people in and groom them. And the nice thing is with it, I also believe in growing my own timber. So when I appoint somebody like that, and that person puts up his hand or her hand, I will walk away with you. I will definitely make sure that we will enroll you. Like 2 years ago, 76% of all my people in my organization were studying. And it's including admin people, including some of the call center ladies. I believe in empowering people. If I can empower them to be better, then we can deliver a better service, and a better service will also attract happy clients. So that's the one thing. If I look at advisors, that's where you want to come to. I know that. If you come to advisors, I've got a strong appetite for graduates. So I look at the graduate. Doesn't matter what. Even if you've got a ballet qualification, doesn't matter. I like to bring in graduates. Why? The first thing, they're trainable. So it's easy for them to train them up in this environment, to train them, even though they know nothing about the RA, they don't even know what the retirement annuity is. I can train them up. That's the first thing. The second thing, somewhere in his 2 years or 3 years in acquiring that qualification, he had to work hard. Sometimes he had to work right through the night to submit a assignment or anything like that. So they know what it takes to be successful. Coming back to the same as the sport people as well. So I like to bring in graduates. I like to bring them in and train them up and introduce them to this fantastic profession that we've got. And then if you haven't got a graduate qualification, that's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
So I will also look at, because there's also people in our country that haven't had the opportunity, parents haven't had the money. If you've got a bit of a successful track record in wherever you were, I like to bring you in as well.
Awesome. Do you always get it right?
No. No, definitely not. My gut feel let me down a few times. But it's not always only about the gut feel, Francois. I've also given a few people opportunities. And you know who I'm talking about. A friend of ours also joined my business at the state because he had this, maybe I must try this, Andre. And I will give you opportunity. It's going to cost me 495 Rand for your business cards. Let's put you behind the desk and let's give you opportunity to go and do that.
And it's up to you.
Yeah, so sometimes it was also some welfare responsibilities that I did. But yeah, it's fine.
Did that at all cause you to not want to consider that in future, or are you still open?
No, let's give a person a chance. Yeah. If he's, in an interview and he shows he's got an aspiration to be successful in something that he wants, let's give him an opportunity.
Okay, that's awesome. How do you remunerate and incentivize your staff? We also chatted about that just before the interview. So not in detail, just the concept around in your organization, remuneration and incentives. How do they work?
Okay, so I think 95% or 90% of all the people working in my organization are on a basic salary, and then incentives on commission based.
That includes admin people, includes obviously advisor.
Everybody. Okay, the advisor is automatically 100% commission. Yeah. There's no basic salary on them. But all my rest of my staff are working on commission.
And the results?
They're all driven and they're all driving in the same direction. They need to issue business. They need to make all appointments, everything. So they do it for the right reason, because they want to get, and Francois, let's face it, if they drive that policy to issue, then the client are either covered or his investment is invested in the market. Yeah. That's what we want.
So it's not like waiting for tomorrow because maybe the advisor will bring in the applications tomorrow or maybe next week. It's okay. I'm getting my salary at the end of the month. No.
I like it, the fact that you mentioned tomorrow. In Allgen Evolve, Allgen Group, there's no tomorrow.
Today.
Only today and yesterday. And you can even ask our business partners, Liberty, they also understand. Yeah, we're going to be a pain in the butt, but there's no tomorrow.
But I mean, you're running this this is your business. It's separate. You may be affiliated with a Liberty, but it's still like you made a promise. Liberty didn't make a promise. It's like we need to deliver.
We need to deliver on that stuff. So yeah, that's everybody is driven in the same direction. We make sure that we do the right stuff, and people are earning more. The more you're going to do, the more you're going to earn.
I fully agree. What are the values that Allgen and your team live by?
We've got 6 values. So what we've done in 2014, another thing that we've done in the beginning of this organization, we went to have a look at the top 35 financial advisors in Liberty. We said, what differentiate those people? So we've done a study. Group. Yeah, within the Liberty Group. So we've done a study and we've analyzed those people, and we came to six different values. And the first thing is care. Look at those guys, the top, any business. If you've got a successful business, those CEOs or whatever they pay people that is at the top, they care. They care for their people, they care for their customers. So that's the most important thing for us. And because we are a family business, even though that we've got 72 people working in this organization, we're still a family business.
It's Allgen family.
The Allgen family. The second one was professionalism. Mm-hmm. And we're busy with a presentation to all our staff. What does it entail? You're sitting in admin. What does professionalism entail for you? When you go and smoke, you're coming back to the office, you go and wash your hands. It's simple stuff like that. Get yourself some bubble gum going and everything, because we don't want the whole office to smell like smoke. It's simple stuff like that. But what differentiates you? When you speak to a client, when you address a client, how do we address that client? So professionalism is very important for us. And part of professionalism is also qualifications.
Yeah.
So that's why we're driving professionalism. I'm going to come back to the next one, the third one later. Then positiveness is one of our drives. Even though that the economy is falling apart or whatever is falling apart, we're going to stay positive. We haven't got time for negative people in my organization.
I love that.
They will take you out even very easily. Resilience.
Yeah.
That's the fifth one there on your list. And then assertiveness. Mm-hmm. And assertiveness is in your handling with the client. Client tell you, listen, Francois, I need to go and sit and think about this. I need to discuss it with my wife. Okay, Mr. Client, I'm more than happy with that. I like the way that you're thinking about your family. You need to consider your wife in this decisions as well. Can I give you a call tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon?
Yeah.
Not, yeah, but I'll phone you when I'm ready. No. That's assertiveness. Not to be windgat.
Yeah, not to
be
be
aggressive. But it's assertive in business. And then the last one, but definitely one of the most important ones, and you know me for many years about this one, and is balance.
Yeah.
We need to have balance. We need to plan for the 8 dimensions in your life. So fun, I just had some one-on-ones with all my financial advisors, and they need to give me proof. What are they doing with all the long weekends that's coming up? Where are you going on the 20th of March, that long weekend?
And you've always been like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time we worked together directly was in 2007, I think. You left at that point. I think it was 2007, 2008. And that's always been a thing, like, what are you doing for this? Yeah.
And it's balance is about being with your family. And that's why, like, for instance, that long weekend on the 20th, the 21st is a weekend, it's a holiday.
Yeah, it's a Thursday, holiday. I think, yeah.
And then on the Friday, it's now, again, I'm closing my company on that Friday. Everybody's got compulsory leave, because you need to spend some time with your family as well. So yeah, that's the balance. So that's the 6 values that we're living to. And it's up in big words in all my boardrooms so that people can see it on a daily basis, and we living to that.
Yeah. From what we've discussed today, from my point of view, it's clear that all of these things came out of the interview. So this isn't just words on a piece of paper or a poster against the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, this stuff came out, and you didn't know what we were going to talk about today. Like, this was just a discussion. So for me, that's proof of the way that you do things here and the way that Allgen works. And I think that is absolutely fantastic, because a lot of people pay lip service, but they don't want to walk the talk. All right, I'm getting closer to the end, but before I do, there's a couple of things that still needs to happen. But I just want to quickly talk about technology. You know me quite well. I love technology. I always say to my wife, if something's got a light and a plug, it's like there's trouble, because I was probably going to try and buy it. But on your website, there's a quote on there, and I was like very intrigued by that quote. And I want to know if you can tell us more about it. So it says that we use leading edge technology to preempt worldwide innovations, habits, and trends. So I'm very keen to learn more about what that is. So can you tell us, sort of the technologies that you use that actually deliver on that?
Yeah. So if you look at, we begin in our call center, we've got a call center system, that's, hopefully is one of the best.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we get financial advisors that's on our case. Why did you phone my client? Why did you tell my client that you know what liberty policies he's got in book? We haven't got that. So the nice thing about the call center, I can immediately go to the cell phone number of the client or the surname of the client, and I can pull the recording. So everything is there. Then the next on technology, we're moving the whole company over to at work now. We've got the X Drive it's a NAS system that we've got upstairs and in the cloud that we store all our stuff, our emails. You have to keep up with it's costing money. So again, to the business owners out there, if I look at what we spend on a monthly basis just on IT and everything, but if you haven't got the latest technology, latest stuff, you can't run a operation professionally. It comes back to professionalism again. If you haven't got the latest technology, I don't say you must always upgrade to the best, and it's not always the best. The latest is not always the best, but get a workable system that can work for you. Like the NAS, the X drive that we've got. I can go anywhere in the country. I can sit in, doesn't matter where, and I can access any client's file there, and I can see exactly what that client's got with us. So that's that. You need to keep up with the technology. I had a long meeting with my IT guy. We're actually outsourcing, and we're looking at a new service provider on the IT side. And it's amazing stuff that they got out there. But again, Francois, I need to outsource it.
Yeah.
We haven't got the knowledge. I've got some knowledge. I know what is a server and what is that but you need to get a professional person in.
And that's not your core business. So
no, that's not my core business. And that's what I always fight with the product suppliers. Stop designing software for F&As. It's not our core business. Go and outsource it. Get somebody like an AdWork that's their job. That's what they're doing on a daily basis. We need to outsource some of the responsibilities. If I look at all the offices that we're opening up, we need to connect with these offices. It's now difficult for me to have a power hour all over the country on a weekly basis. So what we're doing, we're converting all our boardrooms now with cameras and everything. So we're going to have a once-off, either through Meet or Hangouts or whatever the case is. We're going to use that software to do one meeting per week with all the advisors, connect everybody, and we can also share some experiences through that.
As I said, I get so excited with technology.
I know. You were the first. I can actually mention you when many moons ago when 3G cards just came out, you were the first BC and Liberty to have a 3G card, and you can park anywhere in the country and quickly do a quote for clients.
It was still those cards that slotted into the side. Yeah, I think I saw the ad on the Sunday in the report, and the Monday I got 3G. And then the other thing I did was in our office we didn't have a color printer. So I went and bought a laser color printer, and then 1 month later you did install one there. So that's a bit of wasted money for me, but it was, a lot of times in this business, it's not about what you're doing. It's a lot of times what you're willing to do. So no, this is not my thing. No, the company is supposed to provide for me. But if you just think further and you can stay within the framework and the lines, like the rugby field, don't go outside or offside.
But what is differentiating you?
It's that.
That's exactly what it's all about.
What
differentiated you when you started me as a BC? Yes, you came back from another product supplier and everything, and all of a sudden you want to prove yourself and you wanted to be one of the best. And what are you doing to make yourself unique? Studied CFP, studied all that stuff, and then I've got all this IT and technology. That's what's going to differentiate you, and that's why people will do business with you, instead of the person next to you that's still working and writing his plan on the back of his 30 cigarette box or whatever the case is he's got.
Just quickly on marketing. How are you marketing Allgen? Because obviously, there's a lot of stuff. You've got a website, there's social media, print, radio, events. What are you using to market Allgen?
Currently, it's still word of mouth. Word of mouth is our number one. People hopefully got a nice experience with us, and they will go out and talk about us. We on social media, we're big. We've got our Facebook page that we're talking to our clients. And you will see, and I've got my personal LinkedIn profile.
How much of that are you doing yourself, and how much is being done for you?
I'm doing everything myself. I don't believe in somebody writing some stuff for you. So we've got our website, we've got our monthly newsletter that we send out. I've got a person writing that for me. It's a specialized person. It's a lady down in Cape Town. She's also writing for Fin Week and all that other stuff. So she's writing majority of my articles there. I've got quite a few advisors writing their own stuff.
Nice.
Yes, because mine is more about business these days and not financial planning. I'm focused on running a business, and they're focusing on the financial planning. So yes, we've got a website. Website, guys, I can still say that you have to have a website, because that's where people authenticate you. That's where they go and find out who's this company. Our website was off for 3 months with maintenance and everything, and it's amazing how many clients turn down appointments. I can't find you on the internet. You have to have a website, unfortunately. And then Facebook. Facebook, we're all over. LinkedIn, that's how we market ourselves there.
Paid advertising? Do you promote any? It's all organic?
Yeah, all this word of mouth.
Okay. Events? Do you do events?
Not really, Francois. In the countryside, we get involved in golf days. Countryside is different from the city.
Yeah.
People want to see you on a golf course. They want to see your banner somewhere. I don't know, my KZN team is very active in shopping centers.
Okay.
So it's horses for courses. In KZN, they market themselves. They go and put up a little store. Where we market for ourselves to employ, we're quite involved in the universities. They've got their career days at universities. That's where we advertise ourselves there. But it's not for clients. That's more for employees we bring in employees. But yeah, word of mouth. The most successful guys that we appointed in our organization didn't come from job wine or anything like that. It was because of referrals.
Okay. Yeah, those are always like, even with business employees, the referrals are, they usually turn out to be the best.
No, when you wanted a new printer, where did you go? Who had a good experience with Nashua or Panasonic or wherever? And I'm still doing 5.5 years later, I'm still doing business with Pietro at Nashua, because Pietro will be out at my office at 7:30 in the morning if I need to see her at 7:30.
So there's a good lead for you. If you're looking for somebody to help you, talk to Pietro at Nashua.
Yes, definitely.
And then I just want to add on to what you said about the website, because the thing is, social media is so noisy. Somebody's busy looking at your thing, and then there's another post coming up and another post. So I fully believe that you've got to have a website, but it can't be a static website. There's got to be new content all the time. For me, first prize is you do your own content, because you know what you want to say the best.
Yeah.
It's not to say that you can't put something together and somebody writes it for you professionally. That's not what I'm talking about. But when somebody goes to your website, you remove them out of that noisy space. I mean, think about like a networking event where everybody's talking and it's this noise, and you go into a little room and there is just the two of you and you can have a nice conversation, nothing distracting you, somebody asking you for coffee or any of that stuff. And that's what the website does for you. So it's your 24-hour, 365 days a year office where people can come in, they can get an experience, that kind of stuff. So a website, a lot of people say, no, but I use, like, what if LinkedIn goes away tomorrow? I mean, you've got nothing. What if Facebook goes away tomorrow?
But the website, I agree with you, it needs to be alive. You need to revisit that website every now and then. You need to freshen it up a little bit, because a picture that you post or put on there 2 years ago is not applicable anymore. So yeah, you need to refresh it the whole time.
And also make sure that the team you've got on your website is your actual team.
Yes.
Because I've seen people that got, like, you find them in 3-4 different places and they've got 3-4 different teams, and that's also not good for your image. I know, so I'm getting to the end, but I want to get a little personal for a moment. Not too personal. Just tell us about the most significant times in your business. So whether it was when you started this business, or like during the course, or recently, something that maybe almost made you quit. Although I don't want to preempt this, but I can't see that you would ever think about quitting. I don't know. So that's why it's so personal. Was there ever a time where you thought that, like, I don't know if I bit off more than I could chew? Or maybe there was a light bulb moment, kind of experience, or maybe you tried something new, because that's something that I find a lot of people are not willing to do. Just try something, whether it fails or whether it works. So are there any of those experiences that you can share with us?
There's a lot.
I'm sure. That's a whole podcast on its own.
I think, Francois, a simple thing, and it's part of the nice experience that I had, is if I look at, and I mentioned it to somebody this morning that I'm trying to recruit, and I look at the cars that were standing in front of my building 5 years ago. Figos, Ford Figos, Polo, two-door Polos and everything. If you look at the car standing in front of my office now, and that's part of, that is what making me tick. If I see the successes that the guys reach over a 5-year period, that they're all driving fancy cars, they've got their first property, some of them bought their second property. That is what's making me tick, is to see my people grow, to see even some young girls in the call center when I need to go and assist them in buying their first little car, because they're earning not a big salary and they want to buy their own first car. So that is the light bulb, or not the light bulb, but that's what is making me tick. That is what making all these late nights, early mornings, a lot of grey hair, when I started.
I must say that has changed quite dramatically.
Yeah, at least I've still got my hair. But yeah, I think that is what is making everything worthwhile. Yes, stuff that got me almost down a few times is people that let me down. People that I appointed, people that I've given everything, opportunities in the industry and everything, and 3 months later or a few months later, I found out that they negotiate with somebody else. Yes, I'm open for if you need to move on, and this environment doesn't work for you, but don't be slick and stab me into the back and
be open about it.
Yeah, be open with it. I'm okay though with that. I can take those shots in the face. I can take it.
What is a crazy but true fact about you?
Sure. That, I think that I never say never. No, let's just do it. I think that's the most important thing. Let's do it. The guys always joking about these buildings and everything. They said, okay, one of these days, this whole complex is going to be called Allgen Business Park. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's just do it. Francois, if this desk that we're sitting here at and doing this interview and this brown desk doesn't work for us and we want red tables next morning, let's do it. Let's change it. If that's going to better our value proposition, that is going to better our service to our clients, let's just do it.
If you had to start over today, if today was the 1st of September 2013, only it's now 2019, the 1st of March, and you have to start from scratch, would you do it exactly the same way, or how would you do it different?
No, I think I will keep it I will start this maybe earlier, not only in 2013. I would have done it years ago. But
isn't that something that we hear a lot? So people that became advisors said, I should have done this 20 years ago.
But Francois, everything happened for a reason in my life. The fact that I went to a different company, it happened for a reason. I had to gain that experience to come back and to build this thing. Or teaching. I was talking to somebody the other day to say my teaching helped me because teachers develop the best sales leaders.
Yeah.
So everything happened for a reason. I'm not sorry about anything that happened with me in the past. I've got no regrets. So yeah, if I start this thing again, I'll do exactly the same. The family thing is very important for me in my business. So we are a small little family. Let's build it.
Then, where do you see financial services, the industry, going in the next 5 years?
Face to face, bigger. People want to sit down and discuss their stuff with somebody. Definitely not a robo-advisor. If you look at the industry, I can't remember the stats that I've actually received in the UK, how many people try to robo-advise. This is still an industry where people want to see face-to-face. They still want to discuss their issues with somebody, not with a computer, not with a screen. So yeah, I'm very positive about this industry. Yes, we need to sort out a few things with regards to commission and products. But no, I'm very positive. That's why I'm building this business. That's why I'm not immigrating to Australia or anything like that. I'm truly South African. And there's only opportunities, Francois. There's only opportunities. There's lovely people in this country. There we can build it bigger. And
what you're saying now is actually supporting because Jonita and I, we talk about these things a lot. I think, Shane, all I talk about is business when I speak to her. And yet she's still there. So, but what I'm talking about is I don't really care about what's going on in the economy. I don't really care whether, to get on as a vendor, you've got all these hoops, you've got to just do it, because you've got one of two choices. You either take it on and you make it, or you don't make it, or you don't do anything at all, and you obviously then definitely not making it. And the results we're getting is amazing. And then you listen to other people saying, but this, but that. And I think, and coming back, and that's why I was way in the beginning about the mindset. Do you believe that doing sport at whatever level, but the fact that you participated in sport, the fact that when you're still very active, you're still exercising every day, whether it's 11 at night or I know you're always that's one thing you never compromised on. I have. So now I'm starting to get back into that, because I realize that I can only do so much if I'm not fit, and if I'm not, I think the last time you saw me I was about 12 kgs heavier. So, a lot has changed this year already, and what I've managed to do, and I've still got a long way to go. But when that clicked finally, and I understood but why I need to do this, things start to change dramatically. And just the results that we're getting, the results that you are getting, we all work in the same economy. We all work in the same country with the same laws, with the same problems. I always use the wrong word, but all those problems, yet we're making things work.
Attitude.
Exactly.
All about attitude.
It's a simple thing.
If you're going to decide that you're going to be a victim,
Yeah,
then you're going to be a victim.
that's very true.
There's only opportunities in South Africa. And there's a lot of people that differs with me on that. A lot. I know that. But, and it's coming back to, I think we've done that CD a few times together, the law of attraction, The Secret. If you're going to think about all that negative stuff,
you're going to get more of it.
You're going to attract more of it. So just change your attitude, get a positive mindset, and move on. I think the most important, the switch that came for me in being more positive than I used to be is the day when I stopped reading newspapers. Because there's so much negative. But let's face it, they can't sell newspapers if they talk about positive stuff.
It's like we don't learn when things are going well. We only learn when things are going bad. It's the same with the newspapers.
No, just change your attitude and the things will happen.
And people like to complain together. That's one thing that I also learned. André, so I'm hearing a rumor of a book in the works. Is that something we can talk about?
No, we're more than welcome to talk about it.
So tell us a bit, sort of what is the book about? How did it came about that you're writing this book?
It came about 2 years ago. I think it was 2017, March. A guy made contact with me on LinkedIn, and he said he's got a way that I can build my business he can assist me to build my business to a next level and get more clients. And I said to him, "No, what, Jerry, I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't really need more clients in front of me. And I haven't really got I haven't got enough stuff to put in a book." So we just let it go. And December, while I was on holiday in Thailand, I was sitting on the beach and I thought to myself, okay, André, how are we going to build this business to the next level? And one thing came to my mind to say, okay, maybe it's time to write that book. So, as you know me, in December, there's no holiday, there's no leave. We're always busy with some new ideas and everything. My people, they don't look forward to a December holiday because they know André is going to come back in January with 600 more ideas how we can build this business to the next level. But then I made contact with Jerry and Jerry is sitting in Ireland, in the UK. And I said to him, "Jerry, I think I'm ready for that." And so that's where the whole thing started. So the book is all about Allgen, the brand, the Allgen group. So we're writing about the Allgen brand. Why? And it starts off with what is the challenges in the industry that we're sitting with? What is the challenges for a newbie coming in this industry? There's a hell of a lot of challenges for them. And what's the challenges for the one-man show out there that we were talking about a few times in this interview as well? So the first few chapters, or one or two chapters, will go about what is the challenge that we're facing in South Africa in the financial services industry. And then the follow-up on that is where's André coming from? Who is André Steenkamp? What is the Allgen brand all about? And then the solution maybe for some of these newbies coming in the industry, as well as small SMEs in this industry, maybe join us. And, what is the solution that we providing to those people? So that's what the book is all about.
How far are you?
We've done interviews now. We've done a few interviews. What happened is they will give you 20 questions per interview. You go and prepare. So Francois, it also helped me to sit outside my business and have a good look at my business from outside. So it was a wonderful experience. I've learned a lot. I had to do a lot of research work. So it kept me busy, extra time in the evenings and everything, but it was a nice experience. So the transcription took place for the first two interviews. We're busy with the third one. Now it's simple stuff like because it's a guy from the transcriber is a lady from England, but now how do we put 5,000 Rand? Is it the R5,000 or is it 5,000 ZAR? So it's simple stuff like that. And then the book is going to come back to a lady in South Africa that's going to check the grammar for the South African English. Hopefully by the end of April, we will be able to send it out.
Oh, that's awesome. So I hope to include some more detail on the book then as well when it's out and where people can get hold of it.
Yeah, we will put it.
Are you planning to distribute it to the exclusive books of the world, or is it going to be self-distributed? Have you got a publisher? I mean, is the guy in Ireland the people that's publishing the book, or is it self-published?
Yeah, we're going to get a publisher here to print it and everything for me. So it's going to be self-distributed by myself and whoever. But I think the main aim is to make it available electronically as well, to distribute it to people. It will be on our website, it will be on my LinkedIn and all over the place. So yeah, that's the main purpose of the book.
I wish you all the best of luck with that. I'm excited. I will definitely be one of the people reading your book.
I'll sign one for you.
Fantastic. André, let me end off with this. What is the one thing you believe is holding other financial professionals back from building a great practice? Because obviously it's horses for courses. You've got the guy who wants to be the one man on its own, and he's got one of two things. So either he works on his own, got independent, or he joins a business like yours and all he focuses on is being a financial advisor and everything else is there to support him, or somebody else that wants to build the kind of business that you've built and that you are building. Because that for me is important. People need to understand that you have not arrived. This is still early. I mean, as I said earlier, you're just going to grade 1 now. And it's like actually early, you're now like grade R actually.
Yeah.
But what do you think is that one thing holding people back from wanting to go big? Because I hear a lot of people saying like, I don't want to manage people. I don't want to like deal with all this. I just want to do what I do.
I think bigger in a way. And then just dot down on a piece of paper where you want to be in 10 years' time. If you've got proper goals, set the goals and then work towards those goals. If you've got like Stephen Covey said, the end in mind, and then you can work it backwards. Same with the advisor. I want to see 15 clients a week, or I want to do 2 apps per week. Work it backwards. Okay, you want to submit 2 apps per week. Where are you going to get those 2 apps? And it's again, same with this small businesses. Just write down where do you see yourself in 20 years? I saw myself in 5 years to provide for 50 people. Okay, now I've got my goal my end in mind. So now work it backwards. Where are we going to get those people? Where are we going to place them? What are they going to do in this organization? When I started this organization, it was myself and Teresa upstairs. It sounded like a graveyard here, when we were talking. But that's where, and then we started from there. I needed the admin lady to assist me and everything. She was the jack of all trades in those days. But yeah, get yourself some goals. And decide where you and make a plan, or decide where you want to be in 10 years' time. Even if you want to be a small business owner, just decide where do you see yourself in 10 years' time. Maybe 300 clients, 400 clients, and then work your way backwards. Okay, what do you want to provide to those clients? Yes, I can't do wills. I can't partner with somebody then, or join. I know many years ago when I was at BC, there was 4 or 5 advisors that got together and they formed one office. Yes, all 5 had their individual codes and their individual names, but they shared some resources. They shared the admin lady, a receptionist, and all those things, and that worked. So just get yourself a goal. Where do you see yourself in 10 years' time, and then work towards those goals.
Awesome. André, it's been a tremendous pleasure being able to have this conversation with you. Thanks for sharing your wisdom, your views, and your experiences with us, and for taking time out of your day. I know you are busy. I know.
Too busy to speak to friends.
Well, I appreciate that. And we want to wish you the best. Continue doing the great work you're doing. And thank you very much. And we wish you all the best to you, Olgen, and the team.
Thank you, Francois. It was a nice experience. Yeah, and good luck to the people out there that's going to listen to this podcast. Hopefully they will take something from it. And they're more than welcome to contact me for a cup of coffee. Coffee is my passion. As long as we can have a good coffee and not a Frisco or a Greek coffee.
It's a non-negotiable.
That's a non-negotiable. Then I'm more than willing to share more of my experiences.
100%. André, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Propulsion. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes or your favorite podcasting platform. This will help us tremendously. For more about Propulsion and other valuable information, please visit our website at propulsion.co.za.